For the Romans, hell wasn't underground. It was in the north, on the snow-covered mountaintops.
For the Romans, hell wasn't beneath the earth. It was in the north, at the top of snow-capped mountains. The year is 218 BC. The Roman Senate is relaxed because their enemy, Carthage, is in Africa. There is a massive sea in between. The Roman Navy has the sea on lockdown. They are saying, they can't touch us. Everyone is at ease. But that day, Roman border patrols saw something their eyes couldn't believe. Something truly impossible to believe. Right under their noses, African elephants, on narrow paths atop steep cliffs. They were descending from the Alps, down slopes still covered in patches of snow. The greatest military genius history had ever seen, Hannibal Barca, had challenged nature itself, leading his army and 37 elephants over the snowy peaks, and right into Rome's backyard. This was the beginning of a nightmare that Rome would not forget for centuries. For hundreds of years, Roman mothers would frighten their naughty children by saying, "Sleep, or Hannibal is at the gates." Hannibal ad portas. Rome and Carthage, two opposite poles really. Rome, a state of stubborn, rough-hewn farmers tied to the land. Carthage, a rich, elite empire of merchants, traversing the world with their navy, employing mercenaries. As soon as Hannibal entered Italy, he started slapping the Roman armies around, at Trebia, at Lake Trasimene. Roman generals were trying to play chess with him, but Hannibal was playing 4D chess. Hannibal's tactic was simple: use the Romans' strongest trait, their courage and aggression, against them. He would provoke them, draw them into a trap, and destroy them. The Romans were in shock. How can we be defeated? We are the grandsons of Mars, they said. And finally, in 216 BC, they said, enough is enough. They gathered the largest army history had seen up to that point, 80,000 men. They set out saying, we will crush Hannibal. Location, Cannae. Date, August 2nd. Weather, extremely hot and dusty. Now, I'm going to take you to that circle of death, which has been taught as a lesson in military schools for 2,000 years. The Battle of Cannae. The Romans' red pieces are gathered in the center like a giant sledgehammer. Hannibal blue pieces is arranged in a thin line shaped like a bow. And most importantly, Hannibal has deliberately placed his weakest soldiers in the center. The Romans attack. Hannibal's center retreats. The Romans shout, we won, and push further inside. 80,000 people cram inside a funnel. But this isn't a retreat. This is like the stretching of a rubber band. But when that rubber band is released, it snaps back, binding the soldiers as tight as a bundle of scattered sticks tied instantly with a single string, leaving them almost no room to move. And this is the closing of the lid. 80,000 Romans are surrounded on all sides. This is where the war ends and the butchery begins. Physicists and historians have calculated this space. The Roman soldiers were so packed together, they didn't even have space to raise their arms, to draw their swords. Science calls this compression asphyxia. The historian Polybius writes, many soldiers died not by the enemy's sword, but from the pressure of the crowd, from lack of air, or by being trampled by their own friends in fear. In just 6 hours, approximately 50,000 to 70,000 Romans were killed, until the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. This was the event where the most people died in a single day. There was so much blood that when the wind blew, the air didn't smell of blood, it tasted of iron. Normally what happens? If your army is destroyed, if your kings die, you surrender. Hannibal expected this too. He wanted the golden keys to Rome, delivered with a ceremony and a parade through the arches. But Rome did not surrender. The Roman Senate met and made this decision. Mourning is forbidden. Women weeping is forbidden. Pronouncing the word peace is forbidden. This was Rome's superpower, stubbornness. You can beat us, you can kill us, but you cannot make us quit. And then, a young man took the stage. Publius Cornelius Scipio. Do you know what Scipio did? He didn't swear vengeance and blindly attack. He sat down and studied. He analyzed his enemy, Hannibal. He learned to think like him. He took the war out of Italy and to Hannibal's home, to Africa. And at the Battle of Zama, the student beat the master. Hannibal was checkmated with his own tactics. Carthage surrendered. And now, Rome was the sole master of the Mediterranean. Rome won, but it lost its soul. The fear of Hannibal was so deeply ingrained in Rome's DNA that Romans never felt safe again. For the next 500 years, Rome's foreign policy was this: let's attack them before they attack us. This is called defensive imperialism. Rome conquered the world not because it wanted to, but because it was afraid of the world. Senator Cato ended every speech with, "Carthago delenda est." Carthage must be destroyed. This wasn't a policy, it was an obsession. History sometimes feels like a fairy tale to people, but history is never a fairy tale. History is a crime scene. The traces of these terrible wars and extinctions we talk about were never erased. They were waiting for us under the soil. Here is how the forensic medicine report of the Hannibal file appeared later on. Is Hannibal crossing the Alps a legend? No. Scientists found a strange layer 40 centimeters deep in the mountain passes of the Alps at 3,000 meters altitude. Carbon tests point to 218 BC. This layer is full of bacteria found in horse and elephant feces. It is biological proof that thousands of animals used this place as a toilet at the same time, in fear and cold. That monster was really there. History has been verified by science. Do you think war is a noble conflict? These lead-sling bullets you see used to embed themselves in the human body, like a modern pistol bullet. But what's interesting is the writing on them. Archaeologists found Latin and Greek insults on these bullets. Eat this. Up Octavius's A asterisk asterisk. Asterisk, ouch. Soldiers were the same 2,000 years ago. They were scared, and they were angry. Historian Livy writes that after the victory, Hannibal sent a sack of gold rings to Carthage. At that time, only Roman senators could wear gold rings. This pile was the most concrete evidence that Rome lost not just its soldiers, but its mind, its senate, and its brain trust in a single day, because those rings belonged to the masterminds, not the soldiers. And the final proof. What remains of Carthage? It is a myth that the Romans sowed salt into the earth, but it is a fact that they burned the city. Archaeologists found a thick layer of ash and burn in Carthage. The heat was so intense that limestone blocks had turned into lime. This is the murder scene of a city. One, Hannibal was gone. Carthage was burnt to ashes. There was no power left outside to threaten Rome. Loot flowed into Rome like water. Greek statues, Spanish silver, African slaves. Rome was no longer a village. It was the capital of the world. 2. But history teaches us a bitter lesson, if external. Enemies cannot destroy an empire who destroys it. No one but itself. The war outside is over. Now the war inside begins. Luxury, bribery, and moral collapse are at the door. Next week, we will talk about how Rome poisoned itself. A massive consumption madness. Do you think this situation is any different in a new world order? Please write your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe. See you in the next episode. Stay safe.